As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
The Big Ten, I think the way things are shaping up at the top of the Big Ten are awesome. Indiana, absolutely 100% for real. Handles Washington fairly easily. Game day, all that at home. They are now 8 and 0. Oregon playing incredibly good football. Dylan Gabriel has it rolling. 8 and 0. Pennsylvania State, the Nittany Lions, they get another nice win. 7 and 0. Here's what's interesting. None of those teams play each other down the stretch.
Whoa.
Right. Indiana still has Ohio State. Penn State has Ohio State. Oregon has neither one of those, and obviously already played Ohio State. So are you going to end up with a three-way tie there at the end? Who knows, right? That would be wild.
And the interesting thing, you mentioned Indiana and Penn State both still have Ohio State. Ohio State got all they wanted from Nebraska. Like it looked like they were going to lose
I
that
know.
game for a
As it
while.
sits right now, I think I'd pick both of those teams to beat Ohio State.
Really?
Yeah.
It, Indiana needs to get Rourke back.
Yes. And I mean, if what they said is true, he should be back for that game.
I think you feel much better if you're and nothing against Taven Jackson. I thought he played well. I thought he played well this weekend. Managed the game at a high level against Washington. Did everything he needed to do.
He's just not near the passer that Rourke is.
Yeah, Rourke just has so much more experience.
Yeah.
And when you're playing a team with elite athletes, like you have to make quick decisions.
Yeah. And he knows
So
that offense because he came with that offense, right? Isn't that how what his situation is? Rourke.
no, he Rourke
Oh,
came from
that's right.
Ohio.
He's from Ohio. Okay, that's right.
Signetti, Google him.
I
He
just win,
wins.
baby.
I mean, that that's a really interesting situation though in the Big Ten. You start thinking about the playoff picture. The conversation was always, hey, how many teams is the SEC going to get in? Big Ten sitting pretty. And
Yeah.
let's say Ohio State beats Indiana, but loses to Penn State.
Splits. Still looking at four teams perhaps getting in. I mean, almost guaranteed to get in.
I think you take that if you're the Big Ten
Yeah.
with the
Because
and you've got probably two in that situation with Ohio State and Oregon, where you feel are legit national title contenders, like they can go and win it all.
yeah. Yeah, I mean it's been pretty good for I mean there's a large fall off after those four teams. I mean, which you would expect with, Illinois handled pretty easily, which that was kind of a surprise to me that as good as they've been defensively, how easily they got handled. But that's the deal. Oregon is rolling. Oregon's got Michigan, Maryland, Wisconsin, and Washington left. I mean, I
They're
expect
going
them
undefeated.
to totally cruise and go undefeated. Yeah.
They're going
It's college
undefeated.
football. Anything can happen. We all know that. But I mean, if you look at that list, considering what they've done and how they've looked, it would be hard to find a loss in there with any of those four teams.
And the good thing about Oregon, it feels like they're gaining steam.
Yeah.
Like they're getting better and better each week. And I
Slow
think it has a
start,
lot.
and then they've ramped up.
I think that win over Ohio State probably instilled a new level of belief in that locker room. Like, hey, we got a chance to do something special this season. And if you're walking into the building every day with that feeling, typically you're getting better and things are gonna improve. I imagine the vibes in that building in Eugene are very high.
Yes. Very high.
Who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
I had to go Oklahoma State. Man, they've lost five straight. Played at Baylor, who, going in, Baylor was I think a 3-4 football team. Uh Not very good. And Oklahoma State, they come battling back. I mean, it was a fairly tight game all the way, kind of a seesaw battle. And Baylor took that 31-20 lead in the fourth quarter about midway through. And Oklahoma State answers to make it 31-28 with about, just under 5 minutes. They got a chance to get a stop, get the ball back, and who knows, go make things interesting, maybe come in with the touchdown and win the football game. And they give up a long run for a touchdown where a guy runs through about five tacklers. You have a safety that comes in and just doesn't even make an attempt at a tackle. I mean, basically runs in there and just kind of falls down to his knees, doesn't even attempt it. And then looks like to me on the chase to the goal line, there's not a whole lot of effort there on, a moment where you still have a chance to save the football game. That was interesting to see.
It's hard to give up 345 yards rushing in a college football game. But Oklahoma State managed to do it. And this is Baylor. It's not Army. There is an unacceptable level of defense being played in Stillwater. Every time I'm watching them, it is chunk play after chunk play after chunk play that defense is giving up.
Yeah.
And that's another example. Game's on the line, need a stop. What was it? A 55-yard touchdown run for Baylor?
Yep, 55.
Missed tackles all over the place. 1 week after you lose to BYU on the last play of the game, where there's just missed tackles all over the place.
Well,
that defense is a mess.
I got bad news for them because they got Scatterboo and Arizona State coming to town, and Arizona State is a 5-2 football team, and they're coming off a bye week. So they better get their run defense right, because that is a physical running football team. And Scatterboo is a lot to handle, gets stronger as the game goes on. So they better figure it out. They got Arizona. They still got to go to TCU, Tech, and then they end at Colorado, which don't look no. Colorado.
We'll get to that in my winners and losers. But first, Lucy Breakers are 100% pure nicotine pouches with an extra burst of flavor, and you can get them delivered right to your front door. Go to lucy.co and use promo code BREAKDOWN at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's lucy.co and use promo code BREAKDOWN. The go-tos, mint, 4 milligram. It's all I need out on the golf course, Ted.
I like it.
Now, I know some people a little more hardcore. They want those 8 milligram breakers. I get it.
Woo.
Totally get it. We may have popped those, a couple of the espresso 8s in on the way to Memphis this weekend. They come in a variety of flavors. You can get these Lucy Breakers in a variety of flavors, including classics like mint, but they also have got berry, citrus, espresso, and mango. You can even set up a subscription to make things even more convenient. Level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co and use promo code BREAKDOWN for 20% off your first order. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. My winner of the weekend. God bless the Oklahoma City Thunder. We need them now more than ever. We need them now more than ever, Ted. With what we're all going through in the state of Oklahoma from a football perspective, except for UCO Broncos. Keep rolling, boys. Roll Chos. But OU fans suffering. OSU fans suffering. It's dark. It's dark right now for football fans here in the state, but there's just this beam of light that is the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we all need something in this state to bring us joy right now, and it's this basketball team.
It's going to get us through the winter of discontent, huh?
I I hope so. Because and they've had a fantastic start to the season. Started 2-0, one in Denver on Thursday night, one in Chicago on Saturday night, and I really appreciated them on Saturday night. I walk in, we get home on the flight, drive home, walk in. My two sons are there to greet me. They give me a hug. I'm like, oh, that makes me feel a little better after watching OU lose again. I look up on the TV and the Thunder are up by 20, and I just went, yes, I needed that. I needed it. And it just brought me some much needed joy after watching OU lose another football game. But Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, you wondered like how much better can this guy get? And he looks fantastic. Teddy had 28, 7, and 8 against the Nuggets, had 23 and 8 and 2 against Chicago, and he gets wherever he wants on the floor. But the thing that really is standing out to me is he's starting to take these pull-up threes. His shot looks so much better mechanically. He looks like he's shooting it with more confidence. May God help the rest of the league if this guy is just shooting pull-up threes at a high clip. There's no way to guard him if he's going to do that. It's impossible.
Yeah, the athleticism, the length. Yeah, man, and whenever you combine, they're still in that phase where it's not necessarily what you see is what you get. They got a bunch of guys that are getting better, like year by year. Like that's when the team is really dangerous. They haven't peaked.
The Chet Holmgren guy is better.
Yeah. That's
best player on the floor.
Who I'm
he's the best player on the floor against Denver. 25, 14, 5, and 4 blocks.
Man.
Had 21 and 16 and 2 blocks for Chicago on Saturday night. It feels like he's holding up better in the paint. It feels like his body control is better. It looks like he looks noticeably stronger as a rebounder. Now,
what they say, 25 pounds or so he put on?
Yeah. Looks much better. Got a tan, which I think that helps.
Yeah. And it's going to help him when they get the other big guy back.
Yeah, when Jalen Williams is back and when Hartenstein's back, they're going to be he's going to be doing some different things, but the only complaint right now is having some issues shooting the ball. He's 0-10 from 3 to start the season, and he's only shooting, I think, 61% from free throw. It's got to be better. He's a better shooter than that. But you just have to assume that stuff is going to work itself out. He's doing such a better job at getting to the rim in a variety of different ways, and it makes him even more difficult to defend. Jalen Williams, nice bounce back game against Chicago. 24, 9, and 8. That'll work after he struggled a little bit shooting the rock in Denver in the opener. I think when I look at the team overall, the most encouraging thing is there are some stretches where you just watch the level of defense. And remember, these are the first 2 regular season games.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're still trying to figure some things out, but there's some stretches of the games where they look like they have the other team in a torture chamber. There's deflections, the intensity, and I think that Caruso adds to that. Clearly, Dort, we all know what he is on the defensive end, but it feels like that's the culture now of the team.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it looks like when we're defending. It's not perfect all the time, but it just feels like their length and athleticism just has teams in hell when they are really dialed in defensively.
Yeah, and the fact that you can, like we all know kind of how it goes at times, but like whenever they're going to need to like really crank up the defense in specific spots, they got the guys that have the mindset, they got the lockdown guys, they've got the length. That's why a lot of people are picking them to win it all, not just go to the finals.
Expectations are high,
They
and I'm
are
here
high.
for it, baby. The time of us, oh, we're kind of an underdog. No, those days are over. We got to embrace the expectations, walk around with our chest puffed out. I know it's hard with how OU football and OSU football are going, but hey, the the Thunder are inspiring an entire state to be confident. Let's go.
Are they? I haven't seen any of like the odds or anything, but where do they lie as far as like the favorite to win the finals?
Second behind
Second.
Boston.
Like
E-
that, it ramped up quickly from where they were 2 years ago to now. Ramped up very quickly.
of course, staying healthy and all that stuff it
Sure.
matters. But Hartenstein goes out. He's going to be gone for probably another 5 weeks, and they look fantastic. Now,
Mhm.
home opener against Atlanta tonight. Going so excited, and I expect him to win the game. Even though the Hawks really interesting roster for the Hawks, so I'm excited to see what it looks like. But we've only seen 2 games from this team, but it's pretty obvious this team's going to be a major factor.
Mhm.
And the expectations are extremely high. And this group as a whole doesn't look like those expectations bother them at all,
Yeah.
which is great.
Seems like it's kind of the perfect core group, you know? So, yeah, man. Gonna be fun.
We're going to talk a lot of basketball on here. If we've got the best team in the NBA in our state, we got to talk quite a bit of basketball. Just, I hope it brings me. OU football just has such a large effect on my emotional well being. And it's not going to balance all the way out, but damn it, it'll help. And I think a lot of people feel the same way that I do.
Yep.
My loser of the weekend, and we may be in this category, Ted. The people that doubted Deion Sanders in Colorado.
Yeah. I mean, they have turned into a shockingly well organized football team, and they've battled through some injuries and stuff and been able to keep their heads afloat, and dare I say getting better as the season rolls on.
Colorado beat Cincinnati on Saturday night, 34-23, which makes Colorado bowl eligible at 6-2 for the first time since 2016. We're not counting the bowl game they played in 2020 in that weird year. I When I watch this team, Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter are just must see TV for me.
Yeah.
Sanders may be the best quarterback in the country. I think he's got a great chance to be the first quarterback taken in the draft.
All things equal, it's hard to say that he's not. If everyone's playing behind the same offensive line with the same skill position guys and all of those, if all things equal, I mean, hard to pick anyone else at this point.
I'm with you. I agree. He was really good again, and I guess he had the flu all week and still went out there and balled.
No big
So that's
deal.
that's always impressive, but it always helps to have Travis Hunter. Guy's amazing. 9 for 153, 2 touchdowns. Did you see him hit the standing backflip after the first one?
Yeah, no big deal. Just flip it over.
Also had like 4 PBUs in the game. Guy's just ridiculous. He's the best player in college football.
60 receptions for 757 and 8 touchdowns.
And
While
remember, he missed
yeah,
3 quarters with that shoulder injury.
while also being one of the better corners in the country. And Shador right now, 2,600 passing yards, 73% completion, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Running for his life.
Colorado also playing serviceable defense.
Yeah.
Physical at the line of scrimmage, not getting a ton of penalties, organized. Now they have some deficiencies. There's no doubt about it, but their defense is giving them a chance to win games. And when you've got arguably the best quarterback in the country and arguably the best wide receiver in the country,
Give me a chance.
just give them a chance. And that's what they're doing.
Just let us have the football with a chance to win the game in the last series or two. Yeah.
Deion Sanders deserves praise. He has revitalized that program. Place was sold out and rocking again. They're selling a ton of merch. They're getting all kinds of exposure. But the most important thing, they're winning games.
Mm-hmm.
6-2, 4-1 in Big 12 play. They've got Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State left. All winnable.
All winnable. Utah at home.
Utah stinks right now.
Yeah.
They just lost to Houston.
4-4 football team, 1-4 in conference.
Colorado, they've got, it's not even really an outside shot. They've got a good shot to make the conference title game.
Do Iowa State and BYU play each other?
Yes. It was a
No.
guess.
They do not.
They don't? Oh, that's
No.
kind of unfortunate for Colorado because Colorado doesn't play either of them either.
Iowa State has Tech, Kansas, Cincinnati, Utah, and K-State and Iowa State playing the last game of the season.
Makes things tough for Colorado because remember, they lost to K-State.
Right. And then BYU has Utah, Kansas, Arizona State, Houston. But
so maybe the odds aren't great for Colorado to make the title game, but the fact that we're having that conversation is impressive.
is it, even though BYU already beat K-State, is it weird that I say between BYU, Iowa State, K-State, and Colorado that BYU is probably who I would have fourth out of those teams?
I think that's a perfect way to describe the Big 12.
Right. Yeah.
But when you look at it, and maybe Colorado needs a little help, but 10-2 and playing for a conference title is on the table.
Yeah.
And
almost a disappointment if they're not 10-2 at this, I think, with the way they're playing right now and what their schedule looks like.
If Deion Sanders will just embrace high school recruiting a little bit, just put like a little effort into it. Just only go and fly and meet the 5 stars. Colorado, if he wants to stay there long term, once you have a quarterback go in, he's probably Shadur's going to go top 5. Let's say top 10 at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've proven to be able to have a quarterback in your system go that early in the draft, other quarterbacks are going to want to go and play in the system. They're going to want to have the experience that these guys are having at Colorado. You should be able, if Deion Sanders wants to stay there long term, which I don't know if he does or not, but they should be able to build off this, man, and get some more talent into that program. That program gets maybe more exposure than any other program.
It
from
does.
a media coverage perspective, and all the stuff that they put out. Maybe not more than it. Ohio State gets more, Bama gets more, Georgia gets more of those. But the list is short.
I bet they get more exposure to people that aren't built-in fans of theirs. You know?
Yeah.
Like Ohio State has a massive fan, like most of those other places have massive fan bases that chew up their content. But Colorado is, a team that everyone gets to watch pretty much week in, week out that doesn't have a big fan base. It's interesting though, like some of the jobs that are going to be open. A quick reminder, Florida State is 1-7 right now.
He just signed an extension.
Yeah.
I think Deion, if he wanted to, anyone that's ever been to Boulder, it's a cool town.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a fun place to go to school, from what I understand. If he just wanted to stay at Colorado and build that thing, if he just puts a little effort into the high school recruiting stuff, I didn't believe this until this season. Like, I think Colorado could be the best program in the Big 12.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not unheard of. Colorado has previously had an excellent program. I mean, so it's not. We know that it can be done there. However, difficult, different eras, but I mean, he bridges the gap massively. I hope he stays in Colorado and doesn't. I mean, can you imagine if he was to go to a school in like kind of in the heart of where the majority of the players come from? Like if he were to go to an Auburn who's, 3-5 right now, or I mean, Florida, I don't know. I don't know where some of those options are necessarily, just kind of throwing some out there. Like he could do some serious damage just by the amount of players that I think he could get.
Could you imagine how heartbroken Florida State would be if Deion took the Florida job?
Hasn't he had some like really negative back and forth with Florida State or
Yeah,
something?
some interesting quotes over the
Yeah.
last couple of years, but I don't know. All I know, there are a lot of opinions about him getting that job, then how it went in year one, what this year was going to look like, and to that man's credit and those players and those coaches' credit, they're winning games, which is fun.
It wasn't very long ago that he was just like a TV commentator and then said he wanted to go start coaching. And uh, most people, myself included, dismissed that as no way. I mean, come on, give me a break here. And just a handful of years later, he's worked his way up to a team that has a chance to maybe go compete for a conference title in the Power Four.
They run the table the rest of the way. They're going to the playoff.
There you go. And they may have the best quarterback in the playoff.
And he may win coach of the year.
They would go to the playoff with a bye.
Yeah,
Be crazy. Sign me up for the craziness though. It's what I want.
I'm with you. Give me Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter in the playoff. I want to watch it. Why
Give me
not?
Army, Colorado in round two of the playoffs.
Oh my gosh.